welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna and you're watching Orchie. So I'm in the middle of a project at the moment to try and put in some steps to make my watering regime a little bit easier for myself. So it is really hot in Brisbane at the moment. We're in the middle half of November now and it's been summer since October, really. We've had temperatures in the mid-30s consistently and I feel like summer's come a little bit earlier than usual, but along with that, November has been particularly windy and dry. We had maybe one little lot of showers on Sunday and it was quite funny because it started raining quite heavily, so I actually put these orchids in the trays out into the yard. As soon as I put them out there, it started hailing and they were significant hailstones, so I couldn't go back and get them. But yeah, it hailed for about 3-4 minutes and then it rained for another 2 minutes and then it was sunny again. That's pretty much all the rain we've had this month. Bushfires are still happening around the state and what can I say, it's just been really hot and difficult to keep up with so many orchids. Look, I mean I struggled a little bit last year, but for some reason this year I think I'm just at my limits of what I can cope with, and I really don't want the orchid hobby to be a burden. Like, I love growing orchids, but at the moment I am just not keeping up and they are actually becoming a little bit of a burden, unfortunately. So I need to figure out a way to make this work for me, and so I do have some... That's Frankie sneezing. Hang on. Frankie, are you okay? Are you okay, Frankie? Oh, is that snot? Is that snot on the side of your face, honey? And so with all the smoke, we all have our allergies flaring up. Frankie has been sneezing non-stop. I have had like bad hay fever and Brisbane is still covered in smoke. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about, but I've got a few plans on the go to try and make this easier. So at the moment I have quite a few of these orchids in these trays, and that was actually quite beneficial over winter. It did help with the watering, but I was not having to water anywhere near as frequently. Also, it just helped the air circulation a lot better, but now in summer that air circulation is probably becoming more of a hindrance because they're drying out so much faster. So I do have plans to put all the orchids in pots. Now, unfortunately, about 3/4 of my pots actually have holes in the bottom of them. This means that if I water the plants in situ, the water will just run straight through the bottom of the pot. So, my lovely husband has helped me to seal these pots. So we've had a little bit of a project and have sealed majority of these pots now. And so you can see that they all came with these holes at the bottom. So basically about 1/4 of my pots are quite good quality pots from Bunnings, but they're quite expensive, and so a lot of these other pots that I get are just from Kmart and another little Japanese shop called Daiso, where I can get them for like $2-3, which is really all I want to pay for them. They're like ceramic, but they all come with these holes at the bottom, which is really annoying. So I've actually sealed them up. Now some of them had these like stickers on the bottom. Other ones I had to put a little bit of masking tape on the bottom, and then we just sealed over the top with this wet area sort of silicone sealant. And it takes 3 days to dry, so it's actually been 3 days now. So let's test the waterproofness of one of them now. So you can see I've actually filled one of these with water, and I'm going to leave it here and I'm going to show you some other things that I'm doing upstairs. So we're upstairs now, and I guess my grand plan is really to try and water my plants in situ, so where they are, instead of taking the trays and the plants to the water, which is what I'm doing now. It's a massive hassle and I'm just not keeping up with the watering. It's so hot, like it's really quite draining at the moment. I've had a few problems with my back, so I'm having a lot of problem like crouching down to pick stuff up and getting back up again. My back just sort of tweaks, and it's nothing major, but I guess it just adds to the, I guess, nuisance factor of it all. So I'd like to be able to water the plants from the top and keep a little reservoir of water down the bottom. Now this is obviously not something I recommend at all in winter. So at the moment I'm taking my plants to the water and it's just not working. So I plan to get all of these ones in the trays into their own individual pots and to bring a watering device of some sort to come and water them. It doesn't matter so much out on my balcony or downstairs on my back deck, but obviously here there's carpet, so I have put in these clear liners onto the shelves. I still need to get one for the top shelf, but that'll just prevent any leakage from going onto the carpet and damaging it. I guess there's this whole orchid thing where you're not meant to have their feet wet, but let me tell you, when the temperatures are consistently in the 30s, that water won't sit there for very long. The established plants here, if I have a little bit of a reservoir, their root systems will drink up that water. These guys are all in active growth at the moment. All my plants are basically growing at the moment. So the ones that are established with root systems that go down to the bottom of the pots, they will drink up that water, and the water will also distribute throughout the pots. And because I do have moss in basically all my mixes, so it'll distribute through the media and keep it wet for a little bit longer. For those plants that aren't as well established and don't have root systems at the bottom, well, their feet aren't really getting wet. It's the media that's getting wet, and if nothing else, it'll just create a bit more humidity around the root zone, around the base of the plant to encourage more root growth, and it will evaporate. It'll actually evaporate within under a week. So I'm not concerned about the whole wet feet thing, because if there are roots down there, they will drink it. If there aren't roots down there, well, it'll still help with decreasing the watering needs. So today, you can see up here, it's 60% humidity, which isn't too bad, and it's 27 degrees up here, and that's with the aircon running and everything. So even on this balcony where it's fairly protected, this is probably the most protected area of all my growing spaces, I'm still having to water fairly frequently. So up here on my balcony is probably where there are the harshest of conditions, I'd say. They do get some direct light in the morning and afternoon. It gets warm. I mean, there's always a breeze running through here, but there have been windy days. So along with the low humidity, they've been drying out fairly quickly. So I have actually started watering some of these where they are. So all these oncidiums are in pots without holes at the bottom, and they're all very well established, so they have been drinking up the water, and I've only been having to water them once a week, so that's working really well. All these little trays are drying out within a day, so they all need to be changed into their own pots so I can start watering them where they are. But yeah, most of these are now in pots without holes in them. I am changing some of these over, but yeah, you can sort of see now that most of them have been sealed with a little bit of that sealant, and it's just going to help me a lot this summer. Okay, so we are back downstairs. It's been about 15 minutes, and this decorative container we filled with water hasn't leaked a single drop. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that this idea will help me. It's not ideal, and it's not something to be done over winter. This is definitely a summer project, but I really needed to find a solution that's going to help me look after my orchids to the best of my ability. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that this is going to work out well. Alright guys, so obviously I need something to water the orchids with, so I haven't set this up, but I've got this 5-litre hand sprayer. It did come in a 10-litre or 8-litre as well, but I thought I'd just try with a 5-litre first. So I do have watering cans, but they're only 1.5 litres, and also, like, if you fill them up and pour with them, they do tend to splash a little bit, so I don't really want to make that much of a mess. And I've seen some YouTubers modify the nozzle tip of these to make the flow a little bit slower to allow the water to just sort of drizzle out a little bit. But as it is, if you don't modify it, it is actually a sprayer, so it is designed to create back pressure and spray. That's not what we want to use it for. We want it to water the pots fairly accurately where they are. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that. So they're my plans. I am going to start setting up all these plants, and I probably need to buy more pots really to try and accommodate all these orchids in the trays. Hey Frankie. Hello. Say hi. Hey Toby. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it might have given you some inspiration or some ideas on how you can manage watering in really hot climates, but I haven't moved them all yet, so I'll probably actually do an update in a month or so to let you guys know if this plan actually works and is actually making my life easier. I'm really hoping it does, because the last thing I ever wanted was for my orchid collection to become a burden. Oh, bless you. He just sneezed all over me. I want the benefit of enjoying them to be greater than, I guess, the effort it takes to look after them. But this whole sealant idea will allow me to buy the cheaper pots and save me some money instead of having to buy like more expensive pots from Bunnings and stuff. Alright guys, well, I am going to get started and try and start shuffling my pots around and moving plants into these decorative containers, and I'll probably do an update in a month or so to let you guys know how it's going, if it's working, if it's actually making my life easier or not. Alright everyone, well, I thought I would just finish off by showing you guys this Laelia that's in bloom at the moment. We're all just sitting out here enjoying the breeze. Everyone's sleeping beside me. Toby's sleeping there. There's Frankie having a little snooze. But anyway, this is meant to be a Laelia zip, but you can see how big the plant is, and well, it might just be a Laelia tenebrosa, but let's check out these blooms. So I have 9 flowers and these blooms are just absolutely perfect. So whether it's a tenebrosa or a zip, I'm actually really happy with this plant. It is just so beautiful. I really love this color actually. Really pretty. So it's got 3 spikes and 3 flowers on each spike. But let me know what you think, whether you think it's a tenebrosa or whether it might still be a Laelia zip, I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more orchid videos. Hope you guys have a great week and happy growing until I see you next time. Bye!